Hello and welcome to Stereotypical, a podcast about music and the people who make it, brought to you by the OX Collective. On today's episode, Jack and I sit down with our old friend, producer and DJ Tim Taylor to discuss all things music and what motivates him as a creative. Before we start, I'd just like to once again say a massive thank you to Allo Sound Studios for hosting us and sponsoring this episode. You can head over to allosound.co.uk to find out more about them. But without any further ado, Stereotypical, episode 5, let's go. You seem to be you have like the greatest output of anyone that I know musically. Like every day I go on Instagram and it's like Tim Taylor story, FL Studio going on. Like what motivates you because you seem to be working like all the time, you know what I mean? Like what keeps you going?
I think it's hard as a bunch of things. Even just checking Instagram. I know it sounds stupid, but when you go on stories and you see people working, you're like, right, I need to get and do something, or something will come through on my phone and then I'm working on bits or there's kind of remixes. But I think just listening to music as well.
Yeah.
Like that really helps. You listen to stuff and you get ideas, and I'm like, I might try and do this, or then I'll go in and try and recreate bits, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I'm just like that. I can't sit still for too long. But that's, especially in lockdown, like there's not as loads to do, is there? So I'm just trying to do that as much as I can, pretty much.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said for like, I don't know, like there's listening to music for enjoyment and then listening to music out of interest, and it tends to like spark something. Like do you ever have those moments where it's like you hear something and you instantly feel like you need to go in and start working on something?
Don't know. I personally feel like it's a mood. You know what I mean? Like I get what you're saying, but like there's sometimes, especially the lockdown period, where like I'll do that. I'll hear something. I go, shit. I feel like I can. So it makes me want to work on something, but then I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling the vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel like Tim always just has a laptop here ready to go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, how much do you think, like, I don't know, do you ever wake up some days and be like, I'm not really in that vibe, or does it not matter to you? Is it just like a routine of getting up every day and going into the studio?
I think it's a bit of both. Some days, obviously everyone has them days where you're just like, but then I won't just, there's plenty more I can be doing. Like, this kind of links with, say, if you're not quite feeling producing at a time, like, you still got a whole business behind you to, like, try and work on bits. Even just little bits, like, email signature. Like, just change little bits, you know what I mean? Like, refresh your page and that sort of stuff. But producing-wise, yeah, I try and do it.
Do you ever struggle to, like, balance trying to do the sort of music side of it and also, like, running yourself, like you say, like, essentially as a business?
Well, I've got Jack as, like, management, so
yeah,
I can focus on the music a lot more, which really helps. We do have, like, phone calls and stuff, but mainly, I don't know, I kind of get a bit giddy when emails come in, so I reply to them sometimes, but
yeah.
I can focus on the music a lot more, which is a game changer, really. Kind of really helps.
Because I feel like that's the thing that, like, I always struggle with, is, like, I love being in the studio, but I hate having to do, like, emails and, like, run socials and stuff like that. And it, like, I don't know, what do you reckon in terms of this idea recently that you sort of kind of have to be, like, really present on social media to be successful, and, like, there's, like, TikTok and all this shit?
You know me. You know me. It's, I don't know, I'd rather just focus on the music, but it's got to be done. It's just part of it, isn't it? I get it, because obviously, like, if you've got people coming to you for music, and now with Instagram and everything, you kind of putting in a studio video, and for the behind the scenes sort of stuff is really cool. But when you're just posting selfies, it's like, I don't know, it's a bit forced. I don't know. It's just not. Yeah. It's got to be done, though, isn't it? But it's just a bit like, I'd rather focus my creative time on music than.
It's mad that you're saying that you think it's kind of forced, because I feel like if we was to watch you working on stuff, I feel like just being around you, like, you're very energetic as a person. So I feel like it wouldn't be, but I don't know how you feel about, like you're saying, to put it out there, like, you know, you have to post something, you know, like, to stay active and stuff.
It's just, I'm not very good at taking pictures of myself. Can we go with that? Even if other people do, it's just a bit like, maybe, like, press shots and that sort of stuff. Like, it's fine, but if I'm out and I'm just chilling, I don't want people putting out phones and you know what I mean. It's just that seems to be it a lot. Like, people go and stand near a cool wall in town, and then you're like, I can't do that. It's just a bit.
I see people standing in car parks now.
Yeah.
Crouching in car parks. I don't get it, personally.
Yeah. Like the influencer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say that, but we've been on some dodgy walks to get some scenes.
Yeah, well, it's something you've got to do sometimes, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I don't know, I guess, like, in your sort of, like, genre, if you will, there's probably less emphasis because you're not trying to be, like, a big pop artist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know, I'm assuming you're not trying to be
I'm
a
not
big
trying
pop
to be a
artist.
big pop artist, don't worry about
Like,
that.
there's not as much emphasis on, like, you as a personality. It is more just about the tunes.
Not over the last few years, I don't think. Like the last 3 or 4 years, maybe it's still got that influencer kind of vibe to it. I don't want to say that, but you get what I'm saying by me saying that. It's just, but you've got to, like, people now want to know who's up there playing. It's not just like, I'm going to say the old days, like, because I'm 473, but like, now you can kind of give the people that kind of background to you. I think that's really cool, to be fair, but it's just, it's complicated, isn't it? It's just taking them pictures and being constant. It's just a bit of a...
Yeah, so do you feel like that drives you into like a certain image? Do you know what I mean? Like I've heard a lot of stuff you've worked on, and it kind of goes diverse, but it all like comes under like the house stuff. Like, do you think, like you say, people want to know who's on the decks? Like, do you think it kind of pushes you towards making certain things, or are you not asking? You just like working on a lot of stuff?
That's a good question. Yeah, I think you do kind of get up to a certain sound, and like even just the way DJs move kind of changes how you listen to him. I know that sounds stupid, but when you're actually out and if a DJ's moving really weird, then you're just like, whereas like if he's a bit, I don't know, kind of like funky and a lot like head bobbing, it's just usually quite cool stuff. And if they're going a bit mad, it's like big build ups and big drops. So like I'd say, yeah, that does change. Definitely how you produce back in the studio, which sounds weird. But you might have the same. If like you're playing band stuff, you have bands that are going off. They're probably playing really energetic stuff.
Yeah.
But if like they're just chilling, playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think, well, I don't know. I suppose it's like, I don't know if you found this or if it's different for you, but like for me working on the band stuff, it's like I almost don't want to have to play everything live. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes I want to make stuff that isn't for a live setting, whereas that might be different for you because everything you make is really sort of for a live setting. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, with exception of like, I know like you make the more lo-fi stuff as like for fun, but like the main Tim Taylor vibes is all to be played out. Like that's sort of the point. Whereas like, I don't know, I sometimes want to make stuff that people just listen to in their bedroom at night. and then like the rest of the band are like, it's a bit boring, this, isn't it? It's like, fuck, you got to change it to play it live and stuff. No, like, because you're someone who you don't
perform.
You sort of just make stuff for the sake of making stuff.
That's cool, to be fair.
Like, what is your vibe on that? Like, do you ever think about the listener when you're making something?
No. Just no. No. I don't listen and think like. I don't listen and think, oh, who's going to listen to this and what would like they want or what are they listening out for? I feel like I try and work on a lot of different stuff. Do you know what I mean? This was a question I was just going to ask you a minute ago. Like, I wonder if you're the geezer who like goes and like starts a project and like kind of works on it a lot and then just leaves it and then you've kind of got like this big back catalogue of half-assed projects. Or do you like have stuff and then you just go back and you feel like, oh, I need to work on this. I want to work on that one. I
usually finish what I start.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know if that's rare, but I don't see a lot of people doing that. Like, I don't have a lot of half-finished projects.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't stretch it until I'm like, yeah, that's sick. And if it's sounding terrible just as the idea, then I'll either go away just for a couple of days, maybe have a bit of time off, or just work on some mix downs and masters, whatever, and then just come back into the project. If I've got nothing, like if I still can't do it, I'll just start another one. But that's literally like some drums. You know what I mean? It's not like I'll stretch out to an idea and then I'm like, yeah, dead that off.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of an inkling of stuff, but the majority of the time it's just like I finish what I start, which is because I'm just in the zone. Like, it's weird. I just seem to figure some stuff out over like the last year. So
yeah, that's good because like I've recently had to go through like all my project folders, find what's shit, find what I think sounds decent, and then just kind of put it on another list. Do you know what I mean? So now I've got like the projects which I feel like I know I need to work on that I liked and got rid of the rest of the shite.
That's really helpful though.
Yeah. because I feel like it's such like a different way to. I don't know how you finish what you start, don't you? Usually.
That's what I mean. Like, not really, because like, for example, like I was halfway through making this thing that had sort of like Stockholm vibes, right? And then I got like, let's say, like I had the arrangement done and shit, and then at the end I found like a different like sort of chord sequence and a different pattern, and I thought, oh fuck. Like, do I have to go back and change everything now to fit this new chord sequence?
Yeah.
But instead I just made a new project with that, and it just went some west way and sounded terrible, and I got pissed off and had to go to bed. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I know I'm okay at what I do, and this sounds terrible.
Yeah.
So I'm not dealing with it anymore.
Yeah, that's smart.
I don't know. Like, I think something I've learned is to be able to just make stuff for the sake of making stuff sometimes. Like, not, I don't know, we've talked about it on the podcast before where like I sort of think, and it's different for different people, but for me, not everything, I'm not trying to hold everything I make to like the highest standard. I'm sort of just, and maybe that's different because I can afford to do that because I, at the end of the day, have like a band of 2 other people that I can just play like shitty 16 bar ideas to, and then they'll help me make it into the rest of the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like I'd struggle to be like your vibe where you finish it before, like, so you finish something before you start the next thing.
Yeah.
That's
I can't really have multiple stuff on it.
Does that like ever take a lot of motivation to sort of, if you hit like bumps in it, do you ever feel like giving up on songs, or do you always?
I'd say I wouldn't feel like giving up, but there's definitely bumps where you like, everyone has the classic like what's missing, but I've kind of figured out stuff to get around that. That's like when I was saying before about figuring stuff out, it's just little bits like that, like arrangement bits, so I can keep it going without getting too stuck, which like a year or 2 ago I'd have been like, spent like a day trying to find a synth, whereas now I'm just like bang bang and it's done. So because that's what I mean about having other people though, because like I don't really struggle doing it on my own, but if I had other people to go to, I think it'd be like a gift and a curse, because like I love some bits and then you show it to them and it's just like, whereas like if I like it I can just be like, yeah, sorted. Yeah. So
well, I was gonna ask you about that because obviously like you do seem to work pretty much exclusively by yourself.
Yeah.
Do you ever, I don't know, like, how do you feel when it comes to collaboration? Is that something you'd be interested in, or are you happy to just like live in your own little world?
A bit of both. My little world's okay, but I'll definitely do collabs at some point. I've got a couple that I'm doing at the minute, so but they're a lot less regular. But I don't know. I never struggled doing it on my own, to be honest. It's not like band stuff. Like I don't have to learn to play loads of mad saxophones.
The maddest thing is like when you keep referring to band stuff, like it's mad because you're obviously looking at like the music he makes, for example, in like the same way that I'd think of the music you make. I mean, you're saying band stuff would be hard to get motivated, but I'm thinking like the music you make. Like I feel like it'd be hard to get it sounding like as funky. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like you could get it to a level, but if you're not, like you said, if you're not swinging, if you're not doing like the backwards, you know what I mean? Is it good enough?
The classic backwards head.
Yeah, that's when I'd say that's the sort of wall that I'd hit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very interesting how everyone has like a different sort of route to doing stuff because of it. I suppose it's just like the way you've come up doing it. You know what I mean? Like I've over the past 6 years or whatever, I've always been in a band and been surrounded by other people or like be collaborating with you or whatever. Whereas primarily, you know, aside from working on bangers in college with us lot, like
Timbo Slice is a lone wolf, it seems.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, 100%.
Well, but the thing is, what I've noticed about you as well, like you see, like if you, when you go to do shows and sets, you seem to like take friends with you all the time.
Yeah.
Like, how important is it to have those people around you?
Yeah, crazy. It's kind of mad as well because it's not even. I was speaking to Jason about this the other day. I think he's come to every single gig I've played. Yeah. But like, I rate it because that means he's come to the bad ones, like knowing they're gonna be bad. Yeah. So that's kind of a vibe. But I think you got to. Like when I get there, there'll be people there that I might know, and I'll be like, "You're right," but then that sounded really bad. So I'll be like, obviously saying hello or whatever. But then if you just got like your own group to just chill with and everything, that's a game changer. You've got the band, so you're chilling.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. It's almost like you do have the band,
but your own band.
not like not creatively, just for the sort of moral support that comes with being the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I never really thought of that like mad deep, but yeah, it's cool though. Like supporting it. So
Yeah, like the first time I ever played it, when I like started being in bands, and then the first time I played a gig without a band,
Mhm.
I remember coming off stage and going, "Oh,
Well,
that, like I didn't enjoy that, and I can't talk to anyone about it." You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like I think it's really important just from like a almost like a mental point of view, and also like to keep your head up,
Mhm.
to have like people around you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's looking out and seeing is Moonhead in the crowd in Northwich when he didn't tell you he was coming to the gig.
That's cool though.
Which is it's important to have those people.
For sure.
Like, do you feel like you've ever had like a bad show or a bad gig or something? And then like, if so, like, how would that work with the motivation going home and like knowing that you're still doing it, it's still like your everyday sort of thing. It's like your career, and how that would affect you going forwards, both like in the studio and towards like your next show.
That's a good question again from Jacko.
Thank
Just
you.
pulling out the bangers.
You want to see the right foot, lad, on a Thursday night?
Damn. Yeah, for sure. I think you hear a lot of comedians talking about this when they just like bomb on stage and then they go home and they're like, and then they come back and they like obviously worked on the problems. It's exactly the same, I guess. But it's a bit, I think it's a bit easier to get away with it as a DJ because it's like, hard to explain. It's kind of, it's more songs you pick than mixing techniques.
Yeah.
So like, you know what kind of sounds to go for in what clubs and what kind of parties play what kind of sound. Like what kind of crowds want to hear what. Like you'll have a set list.
Yeah.
I
You
just,
have a band.
I just have a Whereas like I literally just turn up and just whatever.
Yeah. Well, I
So-
mean, that's something that like me and him talked about in preparation
This
for
blows
this.
my mind, right?
There we go.
Thinking about it, like when you're going up, like how much, like, you know, with like massive DJs and that will have like everything queued out, they know what's coming next, sort of thing, with like the set list.
Mm-hmm.
And like if like say if they're doing like a show like every night, 7 nights, it's
Yeah.
not going to be crazy different unless like they're sort of reading and or you think of something and go, oh, it'll fit in here.
Yeah.
Like how much of that changes for you?
I don't do any of that.
You
I
don't.
wouldn't even say the top people in house do that. The top people in EDM do that. You have
Yeah.
like a lot of stage triggers and lighting and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. Whereas like the top house people are just like there's a couple of like strobes and they just play whatever they want. I think that takes away from the whole job as a DJ. If you have a track list,
Yeah.
it's like if you get there and you read everyone, then like that is literally the definition of a DJ. Like,
Yeah.
You play what you think is right then, and you play it at the right time
Mm.
and bring it in the right way. Like whereas if you just like cue that, beat match it, bang, that's out, and then oh look, there's someone's face on the screen.
Yeah.
Good timing, like well done boys. It's like jib that off. Just play music you want to hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can feel what people want. Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds really strange.
No, I get
That's
you.
some like Matrix stuff, but like yeah, you must feel that because you can
You got
you can play
bands.
live, you can play live, but like like if you're playing something and there's like a lot of energy and people like responding to it, you want to play more energy because then more
Yeah,
people
yeah,
respond to it.
I don't know that we've never like.
I'm not leaving you out, Jacko.
No, it's okay.
He just plays live.
No, I get
I'm
you.
just in a band.
He's just in a band.
we
if you didn't know.
we've never like gone on not knowing the set. You know what I mean? Like we never. I don't think we've ever done anything on the fly. Maybe like if we need encores. You know what I mean? You sort of will just pick whatever song you've got left.
Yeah.
But nah, I don't know. It's again, it's like the two different worlds in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Like I would imagine that a lot of bands don't really go on unplanned. Because and personally, like I couldn't do what you do because the thought of that stresses me out too much.
Yeah.
Like I'm A, too indecisive, and B, not like slick enough to do it on the fly. Like I have a set list written out, and then I have like what I'm gonna say between each song and all this shit.
That's crazy.
Nah, I couldn't do
Really?
it. Yeah.
Beach marks and everything, bro. You want to see it?
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, because otherwise, it's probably just the kind of person I am as well. Like, I feel like I'd go up there and just like, I just wouldn't know what to do.
I wouldn't have thought of that. I thought you'd have a set list, but I wouldn't think you'd have like.
Yeah, I try and plan it as much as possible. And like when we
Nice.
rehearse it. Well, not so much anymore because the world's gone to shit. But like,
You have to really emphasise.
yeah. The people need to know. Like when we used to rehearse more often, like we'd set out like a fake stage, so we'd all be like as if it was a show, and we'd rehearse the show full on. We'd rehearse what I'd say between the sets, like we'd rehearse how Sean was gonna move and all this shit. It was weird. But like, how much do you think playing live over the past few years has influenced the way you produce and create when it comes to like a studio setting?
Infinitely, I think. It's changed everything, especially because I was younger and I produced. I know a lot of people, like the main sort of thing is they get to 18, they go out, they know what it sounds like, and then they're like, well, I want to try and make that. Whereas like I was listening to Swedish House Mafia at my grandma's, and I was like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different setting, so when I could go out, that changed everything. Because I kind of saw the setting where it was meant to be played.
Yeah.
So it sounds different, like music sounds different when you're out, especially house music. It just like rumbles, it's not kind of... When you listen to it out of headphones or whatever, it's not as thick, I want to say.
I feel like, as you know, as producers and like musicians, you can hear it as well. Do you know what I mean? Like if we're listening to like one of your mixes, like you can hear like just like how different like the EQ would be, knowing you're going to play it in a certain environment to them like what I'm hearing it in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It was really interesting, actually. I don't know if I ever showed you that, but like in the first lockdown, Tim actually sent me like some stems because I was just like trying to mix a load of stuff. So I like did a mix of one of his tunes, and it was weird seeing the difference between my mix and your mix. And I think yours was definitely with that experience of like the club. The bass was a certain way.
Club.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
In the club, the bass was a certain way. Like the kick hit at a certain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially because I've been doing it a lot over lockdown as like a service. That sounds grim. So I've like really
I've been selling yourself, have you?
I just want to point that out.
Got to do what you got to do. I got to put food on the table. But
Got kids
yeah.
to feed.
Hey, whoa, whoa. But yeah, I really focused on that. But it's been hard not to be able to hear music I've made out, which has been really weird. I know a lot of people struggle with that. I spoke to some people and they're like they know it sounds good out, but you want that confirmation of playing it out and being like. So with mixdowns especially, that's just got to be done. Like you have to hear it out.
Yeah.
Like that's the main place you want it to sound fat.
Yeah.
So
Like what do you do as in like terms of mix test? Do you know what I mean? Because like we can go from monitors to earphones to like the car test, but I feel like it'd be a lot harder to test some of your mixes out.
I do the same, but then just hear it out. It's hard. I'll just do reference tracks, and then I've just got some new headphones and stuff as well. So I've been trying to, probably a couple of months ago now. So I've been trying to get used to them and stuff. But I just listen to a lot of music. Like if there's a way that I'll be testing stuff, I just listen to a lot of music in that way. And then I kind of get where everything sits. And then I'll listen to mine and I'll be like, right, this needs changing, whatever. But it's probably the same, just out. That's the only place different, really, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially the good old car test. You can't
beat it.
You can't knock a car test.
It's mad, isn't it? How you like, oh yeah, this is sick, and then you put it in the car and you're like, oh my God, Jesus Christ, change everything now. Like I don't really want to mention the big C word too much, but like over the past year, shall we say,
Let's go with that.
Does the has the way that, obviously because you've not been DJing, has that like changed the type of music that you're making? Have you explored different routes and like tried different things, or have you just been sticking with the bangers?
I've been sticking with the bangers, to be honest. That sounds so narcissistic. I just love weird, dark, spacey stuff, so that's what I make. Yeah, pretty much. A lot of people have been trying to make stuff that is more to listen to in a car or listen to at home, because everyone's at home or in a car. I've just not gone down there. I've just been waiting for everything to go away, to leave.
Oh, Tim.
Sad, tiny violins play in the distance.
So, like, one of the things that I'm interested in talking to you about, like motivation, like I was saying before, is like when you're producing in the studio. And now I was saying, like, you sort of read the room a lot. Do you think when it comes to like producing a track, for example, do you think sort of like where your transitions are going to be?
Yeah. Sorry, Joss.
No, it's okay. No, it's all right.
Yeah, for sure. Arrangement is pretty much when you're DJing, you notice that stuff so bad. If so much dragging on, you can tell. So like that's another thing. It's not just mix downs when you play out. It's everything. Like especially arrangement. Arrangement is so crucial. So crucial, because you could have a really energetic song. You have a dead build up. The song's dead. It's like it drops back in and everyone's like, you know what I mean?
Have you ever had that?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. But you got to go through that, otherwise you don't know. Like, I don't think I'd be sat here saying that if I hadn't have done that. But
yeah,
that's not a good feeling. But it's got to be done on it.
Yeah.
I want to know if you have like a little like escape route. You know what I mean? Like if you know you have a go to, like when something's good, like they rewind and they spin it back sort of thing. If you've got like something like something's just bombed, you need to get out of this track dead quick. Like have you got anything?
Yeah, I'll have a little playlist of like songs where I'm like, yeah, put that on quick. Yeah, you see a lot of people doing that as well. Like, that's what I was saying about playing stuff at the right time as well. Like, that's really critical. Because if you play something like people are just kind of, there's a little bit of a going on instead of like people going mental, then that's when you just like go over quick, change it. But yeah, you've got to have that folder. I think that's a little get out of jail free card for sure. It's got to be done. Pulling out the bangers, Jacko.
In terms, I told you, right foot, mate, waiting to see.
Keep them going.
In terms of like the way you release music, right, especially over lockdown, because there's a lot of people, like you say, Liam's in a band and stuff, can't really work towards like pushing their career as much because they can't play. Like they can release stuff, but they can't do anything. Yeah. Whereas the way you release music and like get it signed to a certain label is like so different. And has that been affected in the last year or so?
I don't think so, because I can literally sit in my room and just make whatever. Whereas, especially signings, it's been because there's been people staying in the studio so much and like being at home. There's so much new music to sign that people are just, maybe that makes them, there's less spots to be signed, but it just pushes the schedule back. So you might have stuff coming out, but it'll just be later. Or, but labels are for sure looking for more stuff. So if you've worked over lockdown, then yeah, you should be fine. Which a lot of people have, but I don't know about Liam because he's in a band. I don't know. So yeah, that's another thing, because I can literally make it whenever. Whereas like I'm guessing you've got to come here or record at home on.
Yeah, well, it's mad in it. It's like it's very different worlds. You know, like getting signed sort of track by track.
Yeah,
as opposed
so much better. You lot need to catch up.
I don't know. I feel like it would.
It is.
I feel like it would be, but then again, like people in your world don't make albums as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So you'd have to like, because you make the song regardless. You'd have to make the album regardless, and then try and get it signed, which is difficult when you need to come to places like Allo Sound Studios to pay the very good rates for Jono to
fuck's sake. I'll go me.
For Jono to record stuff. You know what I mean? Like it is like it's a different.
It's expensive.
Yeah,
is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, because like we can do it by ourselves to a degree, but it's just nice.
I feel like that's what you're kind of pushing towards.
Yeah, well, it's all, to be fair, it's almost what we've done it like by ourselves exclusively for like the past 2 or 3 years or whatever.
I'd say without Corona as well. Like,
yeah,
that always seemed like what Liam was pushing for sure.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, and even just from like, I'd be fine recording everything by ourselves, but I think you need that like push promotionally. I don't know if you found like, obviously since you're talking about like having like management and all this different stuff, like shit elevates, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And also it takes the onus off you, like you were saying, so that you can do the creative stuff. And that's very much like the same in the band world.
The band world.
Yeah. So when you putting your album out, are you trying to get signed?
No.
do you need a manager?
I don't care what the people want to listen to. I don't care. Yeah. But in terms of like the music industry, right, and the big machine that it is, like, how does it feel? Like you're saying, like you release off like single by singles almost, having that sort of like unique career path. Do you know what I mean? Like compared to like say Liam in this band, like they're aiming for, like, you know, to get signed, and then that's how like bands now, or as they did, get massive. Like I know it can be different now because everyone's very independent. But you as an artist, like how does your path feel? Because like you have that unique way of getting there.
It feels like everyone should do it, because I always hear like, I don't know mad into Liam's band world, but it seems like I'd rather sign songs than sign myself to something.
Yeah,
because then I can go and make whatever, and then send it off. And if they like it, they like it. Whereas if like you're making an album, like, oh, we need it to kind of be a bit more like this, or is that how it is? Or am I just chatting
Well,
wild?
yeah, to agree, yeah.
But I think if you can just do whatever you want to do, and then send it off, I think that's, I don't know, I just prefer that. Maybe I'm just being.
I feel like there's a difference though, like promotion wise. You know what I mean? Like in the olden days, when you have like a label for you, like they can push you a lot. Whereas I don't know how it is like in your world when you sign something, how much you can control that go into the outside world, or how much is just they kind of do what they want with that release.
A bit of both. I think there's a lot of premiering pages and sort of stuff now. So if there's a release coming up, there's pages like Techno Bible, Tech It Deep, stuff like that, where they've got a massive following. And if like labels will get in contact with them and be like, this is coming out, we'll send you. They have like the vinyl spinning videos. Have you seen them?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But that's mainly sorted by the label or management. So that's the sort of stuff where I can I'll hear about it, I'll know about it, but I don't get too involved in. But there's definitely massive ways to push people for sure. Like there's loads of places to go and find new music, even before it comes out, which is kind of cool. But obviously you can't sit and listen to it, but you can hear clips or see DJs playing it out, whatever.
Yeah,
Which,
that's crazy to think about, that like a large part of the sort of promotional aspect of the part of the industry that you're in is almost in the hands of like social media accounts and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's mad to think about. But then again, like, to go back to what you were saying, it's almost like, in terms of that promotional aspect, it's very much like, if you're a band, you're more of a pop artist, so you kind of need like a big label that's going to push you if you want to be on like that level, whereas people in Tim's world aren't necessarily trying to get to that level as much.
Is that true? Is that what you think?
Would you
I
say?
would say that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not like a spot you can reach that's like, you know, paradise, like the golden place you want to be.
I don't think the reach in house music is anywhere near as much as the band world.
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like it's swung a lot recently.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it has,
but I think compared to like bands, we're talking like the top people in house music can have like 6-figure followers, and they're like as big as it gets. Whereas like in bands, there's millions in there.
Yeah.
So,
do you ever think about that? Like, would you want to be, like, what's the ceiling for you? You know what I mean? Because for I know for me, like, working in more pop orientated music, like, the ceiling is technically limitless. You know what I mean? Like, you could be the biggest artist in the world if you were good enough.
right.
But like, where do you want to get to? You know what I mean?
To the point where I go and buy a meal deal and don't get heckled, because that'd be a vibe. I think I don't know. Maybe when I go out and people kind of know me, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like when I come home, like that's it. I want to switch off. I won't want to be like just trying to get about day to day and people are kind of noticing you, and I won't want that.
Yeah.
Are we talking numbers here?
Well, no, like, yeah, that, I get what you mean. Like,
It's like that's the sort of effects I want from the following.
yeah. Well, because like, what I was gonna say is,
I think we're talking like motivation wise. If there's no ceiling, you can go a big way. Do you know what I mean? So when you're saying there's a certain level where you know it's going to be uncool, it's not going to be that great anymore. Like, what sort of pushing you to get there? Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I get you. To be honest, I think if you're playing good gigs and you're releasing good music, it's inevitable to get up that high. So I'm focusing more on that than being like, I need to be that high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind
Letting the music speak.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of comes with it. Like if you're posting videos in front of like 10,000 people playing, it's gonna get views. Like people are gonna follow you. They're gonna want to see what you're up to and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I won't say I chase numbers. That's kind of
Yeah, I feel like you're the type of geese that like you wouldn't change your sort of direction of stuff that you're producing to reach that level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. There is people like that though, but I just don't agree with it. Do what you want to do, but I think I'll just make stuff, and if people like it, people like it. If not, I'll go and apply at Morrison's or something.
I think you're in like a unique position at the minute because you're like, the way I see it anyway, obviously you've got a better insight on this, but like the momentum
into my life.
the the momentum, the momentum's like building now, you know what I mean? You're very much still in like the early stages of your career, but it's like, you know, the recognition is starting to come in bit by bit. Is there any advice that you would give to other people coming up about these sort of early stages of a career?
Don't put anything out until you're really happy with it. Or don't try and... I think that's a mistake, because if you're sending stuff to people that you're not happy with, then when you try and send stuff back and, like, you're trying to gradually improve yourself over time. Whereas if you kind of send something and people are like, whoa, like, where have you been? Like, yeah, we'll have this. Or, like, have you heard this? And stuff like that. I think that's definitely the way to go about it. Because a lot of people try and rush to get stuff out. And then it's like a year later, you're like, why did I put that out? That's dead. Instead of being, like, just waiting. And patience is massive. Massive. Especially with this... I've got a vocal clearance going through, and that's been going through since August. Yeah. You've got to learn patience. You have to have patience, because it's brutal, but it's getting closer now. Yeah. But for sure, like, that's crazy.
So, like, where do you see yourself moving forward in the next few years?
Is this a job interview?
Why do you think you should be the next superstar DJ?
Is there a big red buzzer somewhere around here?
Playing around the world. Sign to good labels.
Yeah.
Nice and simple. That's it though. I don't really want too much else career-wise. I think I just want to enjoy it, and just... It's crazy you can do it as a job. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it is.
Like, what? Why doesn't everyone do this? I always think that. Like, why not? Why not just fucking go and try it?
Yeah.
Because it can work, obviously. But, like, I don't want everyone to go and start making dubstep, but that's what you enjoy doing, then, like, why not go and do it instead of chilling? I've gone on a whole tangent there, but it's true.
You know it's worse when dubstep's getting involved.
We'll spend the next half an hour talking about dubstep. So we're getting towards the end of the episode now. It's time for the return of, because we didn't do it last time, Jack's Tactical Tracks. Do you want to explain the premise for anyone who hasn't seen it?
I'm kind of losing the premise myself these days. So, starts off with, like, you know, thinking about music a lot and, like, what scenarios you can put it in and what situations you think about when music is a big part of your day-to-day life. And we give people questions to answers to pick certain songs to and whatnot, so on and so forth.
Okay, so this week?
This week, Timbo Slice. Legs are Timbo.
I said that joke the other day and you've just stole...
Don't
know what he's talking about, boys.
Just outed your boy like that.
Shame, I know.
Don't know what he's talking about, boys.
It was funny and I said it first. Go ahead, what's this week's question?
Oh, you talk about me.
It's a common fact.
Constantly.
All right, Liam.
It's a common fact that you have one of the most gifted falsettos out of the people we know.
Okay.
So I want to know what your favourite song to sing in the shower is. Because we know it's the arena, you know what I mean? So you go for it.
Okay. First of all, I'll make sure the neighbours aren't in, because if people overhear me singing, I can't be changing career paths.
I know, sign straight away if there is.
I don't want to put people off singing. Like, that's the level. It's really hard, but because I've been listening to a lot of more ambient sort of band music.
Yeah.
Probably Reality Emotion, Tame Impala. Can I just clear up though? I don't sing in the shower, but I listen to music in the shower. But if I was going to sing it, it'd probably be that. Also, the Tyler Flower Boy stuff. That slaps in the shower. That's cool, yeah. That sounds weird to say.
Yeah, well, when he asked me this question, he ran it by me the other day, and I was like, I don't necessarily sing in the shower, but I dance in the shower. Which
there needs to be a health warning for, because that can't be good for anyone.
I do it.
Injury prone, boys. Yeah. You dance in the shower.
I'm not gonna lie.
Tim dances in the shower.
Yeah, but unless it's like a sort of...
Are you throwing out the DJ hand in the shower?
Are your hands or legs?
Oh, I'm whole body. What and touch me.
It's got 17 hips.
Yeah. Do you not?
I don't dance in the shower, no.
Because I was going to say, like, you know me. If there's anyone who's going to dance
I'm surprised you fit in your shower, bro.
I barely. Things on, like, the top setting. It's a nightmare if I go to a hotel and crouch. I can kneel down. What's your one then? What do you sing in the shower?
First of all, I just want to point out, I thought Tim would be a Whitney guy.
Oh no.
That's what I thought Tim would be going for.
Why? I thought he'd
I've got
pick,
that
like,
range, Liam. Catch up, lads. Where have you been?
I thought it'd be like Earth, Wind and Fire or something.
Some September.
Yeah,
Mm,
like
that
just
was-
something
that was
like
shout.
disco, funk
Mm.
stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it does come into it. But I think like recently it has been something like more band sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's not house music for sure. I need a minute sometimes, but like you can't not like Earth, Wind and Fire. That is very true.
Yeah.
You've just complicated this whole thing.
I'm sorry.
I'll stick to my original answer. What was yours?
Tim
Jack? I want to
traumatised.
know, Jacko.
I'm going to say, I feel like you should go next.
Oh, okay.
You should do yours.
Well, I'm
Here
gonna
we
go
go.
with. I've got two really. "Scream" by Paolo Nutini, which is a very funky number. There's a lot of like call and response vocals. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's and,
Do you
like,
do both parts?
No, I usually pick one depending on what
Oh.
mood I'm in. I'm either Paolo or like the female gospel choir in the background. But I don't know. It's just like it's also a good song to, side note, good song to like walk to when the sun's out. I feel, you know that scene in Spider-Man 3?
When he's walking down the
When he's
street?
walking down the street. I feel like you could easily overlay that
Yeah.
this song on that and it'd work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just a good funky number to start your day with. Or
Okay.
flip side, something like sad where I'm like trying to pretend I'm actually good at singing. Like Phineas, Lost a Friend, or like stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, I'm gonna pretend I've heard that before.
Yeah,
That's going to be on the Oh No, Not Again playlist. That's a decent one.
yeah. Jack got a sad playlist these days.
Got we done, boys? Got we done?
Is what it is.
A sad boy.
2021. Boys got feelings in it.
About time. You've been putting this off for a minute.
No, I feel like in the first episode, it was like, I don't have any feelings.
But the question is, do you sing sad songs in the shower?
No,
What you vibing to in the shower then?
no, I think like it
I wanna know
ranges,
this.
but I feel like it's like, Fascination, Alpha Beat, banger.
I have no idea what.
But I know one that you will know, and I'm sure it's the song that I've played in college and we all had to pick one.
Mhm.
Is Relight My Fire. I'm the whole
Mad.
band.
Oh,
All about the snare.
wait, Relight My Fire, take
The
that.
snare.
The toms.
The snare.
Take that.
Yeah, take that.
But you know what? I
When
know,
Tim was saying
why did you
patience
have
about
to go-
17 times before,
Who
I
else
was like,
has a
don't
song
do
called
it.
Be
boys.
Like My Fire?
well, I was just trying to remember because I've kind of blocked it out of my mind because what you did show us in college was we were talking about live performance, and I don't know if you remember, Jack showed us Take That playing that in like chaps with their arses out and
Chaps.
stuff.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
no.
Like leather pants and
Latex, bro.
That's
stuff.
questionable.
Better take that in the shower.
Just one of them, you know what I mean?
I don't know, and I don't think the
I-
listeners will either. Do you want to explain it?
It's just one of them, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the end of the episode.
I just feel
Yeah.
I just feel like it's infectious.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I know what you
Like
mean.
if I start singing it, I can picture someone else joining in. You know what I mean?
If that song comes on, people are reacting.
moving.
Yeah, you can't stay still to that.
One for the mums as well, though, innit?
Yeah, calm it down, Liam. Kids watching. But yeah, there is them songs where you just kind of like everyone moves. Like everyone likes ABBA. It's that same kind of thing. ABBA comes
Yeah,
on.
right, yeah.
We've
talked
said
about
this before. Everyone likes ABBA.
Oh, I thought you said you were gonna hate him. Then I was like,
Imagine.
subscribe.
Well, great.
I feel like that's a good shout though.
What, ABBA?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want some uplifting to start? Because you think in shower. When I think shower, I think like start of the day.
Mhm.
You want something you can jam to.
I really like My Fire's there, boys.
Yeah, it's
It
got
is.
to be there. That is a shout. To be fair, I'll give you that. Not the arseless chaps, but the song.
Especially not in the shower. You can't go arseless chaps in the shower.
Fully dressed in the shower, singing "Be Like My Fire."
do you not do that? Is that not how you do it? I put more clothes on to get in the shower.
You prepare for your stage because it's in a band and stuff.
Them youngsters with the bad music.
So that brings us to the end of Stereotypical Podcast. Big shout out to Tim Taylor.
Thank you,
You can
Gavin.
follow it. Watch your Instagram. Give yourself a plug.
It's a good question. It's Tim Taylor UK.
Tim Taylor UK on
Mhm.
Instagram. You can follow OX Collective as well as myself and Jack. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, all of this will be in the description below. Big thanks to Allo Sound again for hosting us. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and also click the notification bell so that you see these videos. And we'll see you next time. See you later.